Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Daria Reactions. I am Fred. If you are new to the channel, I'm glad that you found us. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. For those who are new here, let me briefly explain. I am going through every single episode of MTV's Daria in order for a part of a reaction, commentary, discussion series, and also, more importantly, in my case, a simple rewatch. Yes, I am old enough to have been in high school when Daria was first airing on MTV back in the late 90s. Matter of fact, I was a huge fan of Daria. You go back through some of the earlier episodes. Matter of fact, you go all the way back to the first episode that we cover as Steamsters. You know, I kind of proved my Daria credentials. I have the Daria collection, DVD collection, complete series on DVD. Words, phrasing, difficult. There's also a couple of the books that came out in like 1998, 1999 that, served as like a bit of expansion material on like things like the Daria database and what was the other one called? I think the Lawndale Files. I forget what the other one was called, but I have both of those books. And as well, I have on that wall of Funkos, I do have the Daria, Jane, and Jody Funko Pops as well. So anyway, we are closing in on the end of season 2. Today we're going to be covering the episode See Jane Run, and this is one of those episodes. It's actually perhaps the first episode where you actually see that there is a little bit of a division between Daria and Jane. Is that the Jane, if memory serves me right, is coaxed into joining the track team, or not the long distance running team for Lawndale High. But the funny thing about this is like before this episode even aired, it was already established that Jane likes to go on long runs. So it's like nothing new. Matter of fact, before you even know this episode aired, you had to have been paying attention to all the little details and nuances about each individual character on like their interests and stuff. And since Jane brought up running, like it was kind of like almost like a throwaway line in an earlier episode, but it comes back around here. But again, this is also like an episode where there is like a bit of a division between Daria and Jane. Is like they're not always on the same page. And I know that comes around full force when Tom is introduced towards like the end. Was it end of season 3 or was it season 4? One or the other. It's like memory is hard when you're trying to do all this stuff. Anyway, again, you all know the deal here. We do the display capture up. We turn the blurs on and off. On top of that, we also have like the audio will be turned down low. You might hear some ambient audio being picked up from my microphone. Mainly, we try to get around all the any and all possible DMCA violations. We are relying heavily more on this is a transformative work because, let's face it, that is not exactly taking up the majority of the screen here. Plus, it allows y'all to follow along, and like you can comment on see exactly what I'm commenting on, or like how fastly or quickly, because fastly is not a word, I'm having to adjust to the scenes and what's happening and so forth. So that said, let's get to it. And we open up with a shot of Jane running. Wait, that was a lady in the background? Is it a perfect split? Yes, it is. So sit for it. Sit down for it. Never participate in gym class. That was my philosophy. Who's this goober? And Jane is interested in him. Our right to sit out. Is there a difference? The American competitive spirit. That is what resulted in Donald Trump becoming president. And again, a great example of why the American competitive spirit is awful. You know, just going to assume Kevin would is very familiar with Britney's pose like that. Never. Mac, Kevin is never going to get it through his thick skull. Stop trying. Oh, no, last week's episode was fair. Medieval fairs, but still. Eh, I got a D average in my senior year of high school. Didn't stop me from becoming a homeowner. Wow. It's like Jake just giving up on Quinn. Yeah, Quinn is normally with a guy at this time. Man, no, she ain't kidding. Non-participation. All right, Helen is proud of Daria at times. Helen likes that idea. It's like we can't blame her for that. Yeah, Helen makes that comment about women not one purpose is not to please men, and here comes Quinn wearing those shoes. Oh yeah, it's like this is the episode obviously where Quinn hurts her own feet because of how the shoes make her legs in posterior look. Fashion fiends, yeah, that's a clever name for them. Okay, so they're not joining the track team. Oh yeah. Well, and I'm surprised none of them have signed up because of that. Hmm. You know what? Jane's doing her best Frankenstein impression. Oh, I thought it was long distance running. So this is actually one of the very few. Again, this is where this is a. Is this actually the first straight up Jane focus episode? It has to be. She runs from gym class. So it's like the design for Evan. Now that we have a name for him, it is typically '90s with the long bangs and stuff. Was like boy band s design. Congratulations. Way to go. Congratulations. Are micros having sex in your drinking water? Well, we're, we're gonna assume yes. It's like, of course. It is a sick, sad world. I'm just gonna let that linger in my head for a bit. Miscontinence of the Earth pageants. You know, Daria has a point. No salt, no oil, fat-free popcorn. And they clear the living room. That's their mistake. Helen is like really involved in this episode. Quinn confesses a lot. Is it? No, it makes sense because Helen is a lawyer. 'There's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. That's how 99% of YouTubers work. 20 bucks? Oh wow, she's going to let her have the credit card and the gold card, no less. Or whatever. That works too. Alfred Joyce Kilmer Public Library. Oh wow, even at the library, Quinn is popular. Wow, Quinn is. Yeah, they appreciate something about you, Quinn. There's not so much the stories you tell. That's a great look for Jane. Daria was certainly mine. Both. Like, you always got to have a conversation with yourself, man. You just like when you talk to yourself, you always win the arguments. Day in. You know what? Trent should give up the music, go into poetry. Or at least for teaching philosophy. Jane has legs. She knows how to use them. Woohoo! Okay, here comes all the popularity as Jane's suddenly becoming more involved. Yes, absolutely. Yes, those ones. And Jane actually has a point here. She's justified in being angry. I got so many questions on what Brittany's going to do to Kevin right now. Then again, I should not have those questions, considering that the antics that we've seen him get up to. Wait, in the original broadcast of this, did they use Chariots of Fire? Because it totally sounds like a knockoff. You know, at least Daria is there to cheer her on. Very insensitive. Alright, Daria apologizes. Yeah, good point. Oh, she's gonna get a bye. Athletes getting treated differently. Yep. Nope, it's not hypocritical at all. Poor Brittany. And they're having lasagna again. Yeah, Knuckles, that'll be Jane. $300. No, no. Like Jane gets a buy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Daria is now pissed. Oh boy. Evan does open mouth insert foot and then loses Jane from the track team. Yep, Evan, good job. Yeah, Daria's room is just so awesome. Now maybe I should put padded walls down here. Because technically I do got bars on the basement windows. Yes, it was. Exactly, you should have. Wait, Daria found it was clear. Wait. What? How the hell did Jane turn that around? What, you're going to do? Threaten her? It is blackmail. Of course, Miss Lee would know about grade changing. Damn, she got her. Leave her alone. Well, at least Quinn gets a learns a lesson. Wow, Quinn, considering you bought a $300 jacket. Oh wow, they're forced to cheerlead. She is marginally better than the jocks. But the fact is, it's like Daria and Jane are like on form with their cheerlead emotions. Thud. Yep. Heard it. All right. Right. That was a fine episode. Definitely, certainly, like the first real Jane focused episode with her interacting with others, her conflict with Miss Morris, the gym teacher, or I guess like more than just one type of coach, actually. Having a little conflict with Daria. This put them on opposite ends, which is actually which is its own way is quite cool. Um, the running gag with Quinn in her heels is not as played up as I would have. I thought it would have. from back in the day. It's just like a few scenes, and like with Sandy pointing it out. The captions and stuff. Because I always like to watch stuff with captions just to make sure when I'm talking, just to make sure I don't miss anything in terms of lines being said. But the captions did obscure the fact that the Quinn's feet was actually bulging through like the holes of the heels of the shoes that she was wearing. Um, the throwaway line towards the end is like, "Oh yeah, Principal Lee knows about the grade changing scam." Yeah, that does not come as shock to me because Principal Lee is without question the most corrupt school administrator possibly in all of television history. I mean, we're talking more corrupt than Mr. Belding. More corrupt than the principal on the early seasons of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And those are the only ones that I can think of. Daria talking to herself out loud and like her inner thoughts and stuff is actually a unique touch, and it actually gives more like an insight of probably how Daria was before she met Jane. Because the only things that you have like before the Morgendorfers moved to Lawndale is Daria's appearance as a Beavis and Butthead, and even then, and that's in a sense she was kind of like the quote unquote butt of the jokes, no pun intended, instead of being the star. So you have that unique factor there. So you kind of get like a real good indication of just how much Daria views Jane as a friend and as a confidant, and so Jane going off and doing her own thing definitely has an effect on Daria that we certainly saw there. And it's like Daria was obviously feeling spiteful and such, even though she was begrudgingly going to the track meets and stuff to support Jane. So there's a couple of different things you can look at there. The whole it's like star athletes getting a bye, just so they can stay on the team by maintaining an average. It is most certainly a common trope in a lot of media in terms of it. You've had like entire any shows that were like kind of like teen focused uh, 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 for like specifically high school and to a less no I think also college as well, um where there was like an athlete involved words. Certainly there was always going to be at least an episode focused around that at some point in time, so it's not surprised that Daria would do this, or at least the show developers would tackle that. But given that the options were Kevin and Mac as really and to a lesser extent Brittany being like the athletes, the at least the name characters that were athletes, that kind of left like you can't really do it with Kevin because he's he will go along with it because he's the QB. Can't really do it with Mac. Mac got some integrity. Brittany is smart enough, and it is more than established that Brittany is smart enough to maintain more than likely more than a C average. I'm just going to assume at this point, watching the episodes in order up to this point over the past several months, I've said it before that Brittany is a lot more intelligent than she seems, and considering her own aspirations, like I would not be surprised if she has a B low A average in terms of her academics. It would not surprise me at the very least. So, but anyway, with those characters, like the known athletes, name characters that we know are involved in like the school athletics, you kind of had to do it with someone. Daria, it would not make sense. And again, I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, or towards the beginning, that it was established that Jane likes to run, that she does go out for long distance running. So again, her being put in that situation, seeing the benefits and perks, of it, and then with a, and it's like Jane was more than happy to go along with it, more than happy to take Daria along with it, and but the dude Evan, Mr. Boy Band design, opens mouth, insert foot, and Jane quits the team outright. That scene with the Coach Morris and the other members of the track team basically coming to like peer pressure and or blackmail Jane into rejoining the team is kind of out there, but it does give Jane a way of like, okay, of figuring out how can she get through and get out of the situation without being harassed and about rejoining the team going forward. Um, but still, I kind of, so we get like that nice little character development for Jane. Part of me kind of wishes that Jane stays with the track team, but at the same time, again, as we already discussed, it does we seen the negative effect it has on Daria. But at the same time, it probably would have forced Daria to come out of her shell a little bit more. I say that as someone who is very much introverted. But yeah. Anyway, that will cover it for this episode. Next week, more than likely, I will be doing 2 episodes. Uh, because we are at the time of this recording, we are like halfway through Gorandia and not even halfway through God Eater Resurrection yet. So we don't have any like video game content to throw on Fridays anytime soon. So next week we'll do a double dose of Daria. So with that all said, thank you very much. Tighten your friendship bracelet. Stay safe. Have a good one. And we'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.